Call to order, Pledge of Allegiance at 5:31. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Emily Hunt Daly. Emily Hunt Daly.
Here.
Thank you. Robert Hayes.
Here.
Richard Jones.
Here.
Ron Ortiz.
Here.
Dr. Guyer Shambo.
Here. No quorum. Adoption of agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No,
So
sir.
what-
Mr. President, Board, I recommend that we accept the agenda as presented.
Okay. Are we sure we want to do that executive session without all of us in the boardroom? We've had that discussion before, when we're gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about, and now we should all be.
Explain what would be the complication. Help me to understand.
We all turned in a sheet of paper that has our evaluations on it. There's a time where it's just us board members in there. There's a time where we bring the super in there.
That'll be the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you very much for reminding me how, because when you bring it up is important for us to do.
It's important
This
for
time-
us all to be there.
Yeah, this time we will not have to complete the form. We'll be completing that in the next 2 weeks. So the only thing we're gonna do is to do the presentation tonight.
That's all I got. I just said.
But I'm glad you do that. It's always helpful. Where are we at now? Agenda adoption.
I recommend we adopt it as presented.
Is there a motion?
So,
So moved. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Hayes to approve the agenda as presented. Roll call?
Emily Hunt Daly.
Yes.
Robert Hayes.
Yes.
Richard Jones.
Aye.
Ron Ortiz.
Yes.
Dr. Guyer Shambo.
Yes. Motion carries. Adoption of minutes. Are there any changes, you have a recommendation, Mr. Pettis?
President, Board, I recommend that we adopt the minutes of January 17th, 2023 as presented.
Is there a motion? So moved by Ron Ortiz, seconded by Richard Jones to approve the minutes as presented. Roll call?
Emily Hunt Daly.
Yes.
Robert Hayes.
Yes.
Richard Jones.
Aye.
Ron Ortiz.
Yes.
Dr. Guyer Shambo.
Yes. Motion carries. Mr. Pettis, recognitions.
Sir, Mr. President, Board, I believe we have a champion in the midst. First presentation is recognition of our spelling bee champions. So to help us with that is Tricia Garcia.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and Superintendent Pettis. My name is Tricia Garcia. I'm the administrative assistant in the academics department. I want to share with you some information in regards to our district spelling bee. It was held on January 25th at the Grants High School Performing Arts Center. We had 12 participating schools this year, all of our Grantsville County elementary schools and Los Alamitos Middle School. We also had some neighboring schools, Haku Community Academy, Laguna Elementary, St. Joseph Mission School, and St. Teresa Catholic School. Our top 3 winners will be moving on to the next round of competition. It's going to be an online testing platform. Those students will take a 30-minute time test, which will consist of 25 words. It's going to be fill in the blank. They will be required to fill in the correct spelling of those words. The top 25 scores from around the state of New Mexico are going to move on to the in-person state spelling bee held in Albuquerque on April 1st. And with us tonight, we have our first place champion, Sabina Solis. She is a sixth grader from Mount Taylor. Our second place winner is Shiley Sanchez. She is also a sixth grader from San Rafael. And our third place winner is Dakota Billiman, an eighth grader from Los Alamitos. Do you have anything you'd like to say about the spelling bee? Or I think her and I are both just as nervous as the other one. So it was quick, it was fun to be a coordinator of, and I'm happy to have been a part of it, so.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All the participants.
Yeah.
Yes,
Are the, any of the others here tonight?
no, just singing this with us this evening.
Well, we extend you our appreciation, our congratulations. It's fantastic. Are your parents here? Would you ask them to come up and stand beside you? And your name, sir?
Alejandro Solis Torres.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
For such an honor. She must be a fantastic person to know these words that you and I probably would have difficulty in spelling.
Definitely.
We do believe that it is a very important accomplishment for students throughout the United States. And we are at the beginning of this, and you are going to represent us here in the weeks and months to come. We wish you well, and we hope that you do succeed and proceed to be a champion then, as well as for us, and as well as for the state and so forth. Well, let's give you a round of applause, all right? And stay standing. One more. And I'll share this with Mr. Perez, and then he can give it to you guys, and you can get it sent out to you so that you can see this wonderful accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yes.
Board members, any thoughts?
Keep going, guys.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Thank you.
I don't know where it goes, good for her. I was spelling bee champ. I missed ancient in the state spelling bee.
Did you?
Ancient,
Ancient?
not a hard one. I missed ancient. And now I can't spell anything.
Yeah, I can't read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget what word I missed.
It never leaves. No, never leaves. For those who are fortunate to have accomplished that. We do thank you for your attendance here. Great. You can stay for the rest of the meeting if you desire,
You sure don't have to.
but you're free to go. Thank you very much. Mr. Perez.
Yes, Mr. President, Board, we just got notice that Ms. McDonald won't be able to make it this evening, but could you say anything about the art, advanced placement art?
Of course, I would love to. Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board, colleagues, community. It's my honor to talk about the AP Art Program, which stands for Advanced Placement. Advanced Placement was a program that was enacted about 8 years ago at Grants High School. A lot of our course offerings became AP courses. And AP courses are authorized by College Board. They're very rigorous courses. Students test, and they are awarded typically a score between a 3 to a 5. If they get a 4 or a 5 on their assessment, then they earn college credit. So when they get to college, they're already a little bit ahead because they have credits. For 8 years now, the art program has been very successful in implementing AP courses. We've offered 2-dimensional courses, 3-dimensional art courses, and photography AP. The art students submit a portfolio. So they create a portfolio of their work, of the art that they've created, and they do a write-up describing what the motivation is and what the plan was for what their picture was supposed to look like. It's very, I know Mrs. McDonald's tried to come the last couple of board meetings, and we've had these snow days, and there was a preliminary round in December where students submitted their portfolios to College Board, and they kind of compare the criteria. They look over the rubrics and look at how the portfolios are coming. And our students were ranked as high as any school in the state. So our AP portfolios, they didn't get scores yet. They'll get scores when they submit them in May. And that'll be when they get a 3, 4, or 5 on the portfolio. But in December, they were rated some of the highest in the state. And there were about 6 students that should be recognized for their portfolio. And I think that's kind of what Mrs. McDonald was wanting to do, to show you some of what they had done and some of their work. But we're very proud of them. We're proud of those art AP students and how well they have done, and we're ranked. So
Thank you. Extend our congratulations. Mr. Pettis, citizens to address the board.
Sir, Mr. President, Board, we have no request to address the board this evening.
Thank you. Presentations, Mr. Pettis.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, Board, their first presentation, always a highlight of our board meetings, and this evening we have a school site presentation from Laguna Acoma High School.
Board President, Mr. Superintendent, board members, and directors, thank you for the opportunity to have a closed audience so I can brag about Laguna Acoma. I think people get tired of me hearing all the things I say sometimes, and it's kind of like that parent that's always bragging about their children. Laguna Acoma High School is like my child, and sometimes people get tired of hearing me brag, so I get to do this with, and you guys have to listen. We have our PowerPoint slide. I don't have to nod my head.
Nope.
First of all, what I wanted to share with you.
No, you don't go down it.
Let me go back to where I started. One of the amazing things that makes Laguna Acoma a great school is where it's located and the cultural richness of Laguna Acoma. And one thing, I was there for 2 years before I realized something. Our school is designed with the community in mind. This is an example of Laguna and Laguna Church, and this is right outside our cafeteria. And so this structure is made to represent the Laguna Church. This is the Acoma Church, and it's represented in our building. And this is a Ceboleta land grant. So a lot of people don't know that when they come to Laguna Acoma, they see, oh, your building looks so nice, but what does it mean? And until Bob Kennedy got out there, and he was a big part of building this school, he's the one that walked me around and showed me these things. So I think it was important to recognize that Laguna Acoma is not just a great school, but a big part of the community. So I just want to share that with you guys in case you guys hadn't seen that before. All right, so let's give you some statistics. We have 28 teachers. Certified, we have 24. We have 2 teachers with doctoral degrees, 6 master's degrees, 15 bachelor's degrees, and right now we have 4 long-term subs. 2 of those subs came mid-year. We had lost some staff in the mid-year, so we have long-term subs in there. We are looking to fill those positions. We just haven't had a success yet. We have an EWS staff. We have 2 security guards. Now, thanks to Mr. Pettis and the great security that's happening in our schools, it's really helping us feel have a safer place. For the longest time, we just had 1, and poor Mr. Joe, if you know Mr. Joe, he runs around everywhere he possibly can. And so we got a young lady who's just in the hallways, and so it's really helping us a lot. So we keep her busy. We have 1 counselor. Another great thing that the district has done is our SSAs, our 2 SSAs. They work very hard. We have had, I'm going to show you that in a minute, but we've had 5 college visits. We have people coming on campus, we're meeting with our students. They just went to IAIA a couple weeks ago, so they're doing some great things in our school. 2 administrators, we have me and Ms. Sanchez. Our secretarial staff, we have 2, we have 1 nurse and 5 great custodians. I probably should have put the custodians at the top because I think they probably work harder than anybody in the building. All right, so here's what we have as far as students go. We have 31 junior high academy students. When I got there, the junior high was mixed in with the high school, and I really wanted to be critical about separating those students because our middle school is for high school students, and as the father of children, I wouldn't want my seventh grade child with my senior student. So we separated them. We got a great teaching staff in there. We have 17 seventh graders and 14 eighth graders. We're starting to see great success with them. Our numbers, our academic scores are going up, and we're making a big difference. We had a great teacher come on board for our math department, which was one of our struggles, and she's really made some great gains. High school, we have 202. We have 57 ninth graders, 53 10th graders, 39 11th graders, and 53 12th graders. I will talk about the seniors in a little bit. We're going to present with Mr. Wagner. 187 Native American students, 151 on Laguna, 28 Acoma, and 23 other. 9 Hispanic, one Caucasian, and 4 Asian. Our attendance for semester 1, we had 88% attendance, good attendance for junior high academy. We had 3 days of perfect attendance. And that may not seem like a lot, but with the struggles that we have with attendance nowadays, to have 3 days of perfect attendance is a real accomplishment. We gave them popcorn. We had great celebrations with them. Thanks to Miss Trish Garcia, who's giving us some great rewards to give them. And high school, we're at 83%. Our school discipline, we had 39 total, 33 minors and 6 majors. For our high school, we had 87, 65 minors and 22 majors. And of that numbers, I think most of those are where, we deal with marijuana and those kind of things. We haven't had a fight all school year, so that's a good thing. And last year, in the whole school year, I think we had 2 fights the whole school year. So we have good, well-behaved students. We're just working with issues that I think all schools are. Okay, what we offer to our students. We offer the welding program, which is making great accomplishments for our students. One of our students who's on here, Sean Paul Holtry, I'll talk about him in a second, and he's online with us right now. And if I can get him to speak, I'll have him present to you what the welding program has done for him. We have automation and manufacturing. It's pretty neat to see those kids using the boards, the software boards in that classroom. And that class is always engaged, they're always doing something, and that teacher has done a great job. We're still working on getting some equipment in there, but with the equipment they're doing now, they're making great use of it. And then mass media has been a slow start. The teacher who started it had some medical issues and started late in the year, but we're up and running. Grants High School is doing a great job of supporting us because they have a great mass media program. Mr. Ron Triplehorn is helping our mass media teacher make some improvements of what we need to do. Sports, we offer football, volleyball, basketball, cross country, track and field, baseball, softball, and this year we had a cheer program. And we're really moving forward. If I can get a soccer program, I would, but I don't have enough students, but that's my goal one day, to have a soccer program out there. Our clubs, we have Skills USA, we have Mesa, we have our GSA club, our welding club, Ed Rising, and our National Honor Society. Academic support, we have tutoring. So we release students at 1 o'clock, so from 1 to 3, we have students can stay after. And what we're doing now is we're sending letters home to students who scored low on the last assessment so that we can try and encourage the parents to bring them to school so we can get the tutoring that they need. We also offer after-school tutoring and from the Monday through Thursday. One of the new things, we just did a budget for this, Saturday virtual tutoring. Sometimes it's hard for students or athletes to stay after school, and Fridays they want to go home. So what we're doing for our high school and our junior high academy is for 3 hours every Saturday, we have 2 teachers that are available so students can log in on a Saturday and ask for help. So we're just starting that. We're just getting it up and running, and we're excited about that to see if that makes a change. One of the things Mr. Pettis is always telling us is think outside the box. This is pretty far outside the box, and hopefully it's going to make a difference for us. Advisory intervention and SEL support. We have a great counselor. She is doing a phenomenal job. One of the things that we did with her this year is we took her out of the administrative area and we put her in a classroom in the hallways. So she's out there with the kids every single day. Where kids used to worry about coming to the office because they didn't want to be seen going to the counselor, she's right there. She's accessible to them, and it's really making a difference. She's doing a lot of mediation with our students, and again, 0 fights in the school year, halfway school year, you can't argue with that. SEL, get a counselor, and then we have an on-site therapist and with Laguna Department of Health. We have a teen center built into our school, and every day we have, 2 days a week, we have the health department, and 2 days a week, we have an actual therapist that sees students. So he tries to schedule it during their advisory time, or maybe during the lunchtime, and he comes out and he actually does therapy with our students. Pass failure rates, the high school, we had a 94% passing rate, 91% in ninth grade, 92% in 11th grade, and 96% in 12th grade. Pass failure rates for junior high academy, we had a 56% passing rate. We did struggle this year with our junior high academy. Part of it is having a long-term sub in ELA, and then we had a teacher that was a social studies teacher, alternative licensure. He's not with us anymore, but we did have some struggle in developing him, so I expect that number to go up. Yes, sir.
That math doesn't work.
What happened? Did I do something wrong? 56 and 75 and 52?
It's gotta be 63 or 64.
All right.
It's towards the good in our part.
No, thank you.
But that math doesn't work.
Thank you. All right, I'll fix that. Thank you, Mr. Jones. See, you can't spell, but you can do math still. All right, look at our athletic statistics. As you guys know, Laguna Acoma has a great history of successful athletics. On average GPA, I was gonna get to that number, but I didn't want to get to the wrong number in Synergy. I'm still struggling finding the Synergy. So I wanted to give you the average GPA for athletics. But as we go through, we're looking at spring, we had 83% of our athletes were eligible to participate. In fall, 97 were eligible to participate. I'm happy to say in winter, every student that came out for athletics was eligible to play. We didn't turn any students away because they were ineligible. And at Laguna Acoma, our eligibility is no S and a 2.3. It's not the NMAA standard, which is 1F and a 2.0. Ours is no S and a 2.3. So at 100%, that's great. Cross country, back-to-back state champions. Third place at state runner-up, freshman Mr. Pedro. Back-to-back girls district runner-up for state. Cross country, Erica Martin. Volleyball, back-to-back district and state champions. And basketball, girls are ranked number 5 and leading the district. And I expect them to go to state as well. So we're having some athletic success. And I'd like to say that the academics is because we have kids participating in something and they're staying busy. Okay, so here's what we had so far. We've had some college visits. Our students have been on these campuses, NMSU and Las Cruces. The CTE, they went to go see the CTE program at CNM. That was a great success. Those students came back wanting more welding classes. Our classes were already filling up in welding. They came back and they said, next year I want to take welding because of that trip. The IA campus visit in Santa Fe, ROCA came, the Rural Opportunity for College Success was an on-site visit. NMSU was an on-site visit for dual credit support. So NMSU grants branch has been coming to our campus, helping our students with the struggles we have with dual credit. Scholarship, we have Continental Divide that we applied for. We have quite a few more, but my SSAs were out today, so I couldn't get you the rest of them. Some acceptance letters we have for colleges for some of our students already is Northern Arizona University, the University of Arizona, New Mexico Highlands University, University of Mexico, New Mexico State University, that they've already been accepted to those colleges. All right, so this is Sean Paul Holtry. I think Sean Paul's on here. And a little bit about Sean Paul. When I first got there a couple of years ago, Sean Paul was struggling. He was trying to find his place in academics and in the school, and we worked with his dad, and he's got a great family support at home. But as you can see here, he's now the president of our welding club. He's represented Laguna Acoma at a CTE student at the Roundhouse just recently in Santa Fe. He's become a model student at Laguna Acoma, cross-country team district champion, and a cross-country team 3rd place. As you can see them working in the welding shop, you can see him there as an athlete, and you can see them here at the Roundhouse. I don't know if Sean's able to speak. Can you speak to us, Sean?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, Sean. So if you don't mind, I'm talking to the board a little bit about Laguna Acoma High School and what it's done for you and how things are going this year for you.
Oh yeah, I can talk their ears off. Well, this year and last year was my very first time welding and getting into actual fabrication into welding, know what type of metal I can weld on and whatnot. But throughout this year, couldn't imagine what Skills USA and this welding program could take me. It took me to places that I couldn't even imagine being in, people that I couldn't even imagine talking to. And you know what? This program really stands out. And, you know, um, I'd like to give advice to those people that were barely going into those clubs. I'd say to those people, you know, no matter how hard it's getting, no matter how much work is piled up on you, it's always going to pay off at the end, because this club, let alone, gives you the opportunity to be around people that are in council in the, in the Santa Fe, but also gives you the opportunity to talk to those people that know business contractors, that know welding just in the field. So I would say this chapter of Skills USA has took me a lot of places, and you know, I recommend it for any student that just wants to explore or expand their learning into different things that they might have not known that they were being interested in. So yeah, the Skills USA really, I could say, changed my life.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Sean, for logging in.
Uh,
Okay, and we're gonna have you stay on for a little bit. The person, Mr. Rivera, that way you went with, to Santa Fe with, he's gonna speak with you a little bit again. Is that okay if you stay on?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'll give you extra credit. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna highlight a staff member. I brought with me Ms. Boca Costa, and she's the head of our science department. She's the student senate sponsor, she's a class sponsor, she's a MESA sponsor, the leadership team, she's a mentor, and on Wednesday, she mops the gym. I'm just kidding about the last one. Ms. Boca Costa, would you like to make the point?
Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and the members of the board, and everyone here, good evening. I'm honored to speak in front of you this evening. And I would like to introduce myself first. I am Arlene Buki Cosa, and it's been my 5 years teaching here in Laguna Acoma and also here in the United States. And I've been the same thing. I've been the science department head, the student council sponsor. I am the MESA sponsor and the class sponsor. So with everything that we did in Laguna Acoma, so many things that are happening in school that really boost the morale of our students and our teachers. So I would like to share to you what are the activities and the things that we are doing there in Laguna Acoma that I find that we are champion on this. It's because everything that I'll be speaking of, it's because of the administration that we have right now in Laguna Acoma. So to name a few, these are the things that we usually do in Laguna Acoma. First one, we have the regular PLC, which we are doing twice in a week, which is to support the staff of Laguna Acoma. We have the strict implementation of the use of the electronic gadgets, the beanies, the hoodies, and the caps. Then we have a very good restorative justice system in the school. And then we are having now the block schedule, which has an emphasis on student engagement. So that's what we are really working on. And one thing that we have also in school is very successful is the tech-free Friday, on which on that day, we are not alone. We are not allowed to use any electronic gadgets on that day. So we are focusing on student engagement, wherein the students and teachers will have to plan as to what kind of activities that we have to give into our students. So there's like a socialization away from all the gadgets. So that's one thing. Then we have the security visibility in our school. We have the teachers will have to be there in the outside of our doors to welcome our students. And we have the after school tutoring every Friday. We have the club. Our students are really involved with the different clubs that we have in Laguna Acoma. To name a few, I think Mr. Sanchez already mentioned, but to name a few, we have good participation of our students for MESA activities. We have the the GSA, the Student Council, Welding Club, the radio, and the National Honor Society. We have the we have our students right now during advisory period, once a week, they have to meet our guidance counselor to have the SEL. So some of our students are really saying that, Miss B, I like this because this is something that they can let out what is thing in their life maybe, or it could be something that really improve them. Another one is the team building activities that we have in Santa Fe for teachers. It really boosts the morale of teachers as well. And along with that, we have open communication with all the teachers in Laguna, Acoma. We have the proper and well dissemination of information this time. So it's really good to see that we get to get all the information that we need in teaching and talking with other colleagues as well. So all of these things that we are doing in Laguna, Acoma, it has something to do with our administration. So we teachers are very thankful for everything that our administrations are doing in the school, and also with the support of the district. Thank you.
I didn't have anything to say. We did ask her to come speak, and she brought that up on her own. I didn't pay her, but if she needs me to, I will. But really, one of the things that she talked about that I want to emphasize is the Tech Free Fridays. I'm a technology guy. You know me, I love technology, and I love to see technology in students' hands. But then I started recognizing how that's hurting them. And we're so technology dependent, and teachers became so technology dependent. So now every Friday is a Tech-Free Friday. Teachers have to do activities and lessons. Teachers aren't even allowed to have their smart boards. They're not allowed to use technology. Old school teaching where you have activities, they're hands-on and they're engaging. So that's one of the things that we implemented this year. And I was surprised how much the teachers loved it. And some of them said, I got back to teaching. I forgot what it was like to teach. We went through COVID, we went through Chromebooks, and now I'm teaching again. Okay. What I wanted to give you guys, and you guys know this is our strategic plan, and I wanted you guys to see the strategic plan in action at a school. We talk about it all the time, we read about it, we're always documenting it, but I wanted you to see what it looks like at Laguna Acoma. So fostering student excellence and academic achievement with curriculum that recognizes our cultural diversity. So this is the students we just sent to Indian Day in Santa Fe, and some of them were guest speakers from local and tribal community leaders, and in our social studies classes. Mr. Tenninger is doing a good job of bringing in some speakers from the community and having them in class that's relative to his econ class and his world history class. And our goal too, instill excellence in teaching and leadership. And although I have pictures for you, the PLCs, the DLPs, the ESWs, and the standards driven. I know you guys know all those abbreviations, but the district has been a great pathway to making these things happen. Sometimes as a principal, you feel like you're on an island and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make this work. The district has designed us a handbook that has examining student work that the teachers are excited about. They go over with the students, they talk about their students, the conversations they have in there is just amazing. The district learning plan is such a great guide. I just hired a teacher that came from another district, and he could not believe he was given a pathway on how he can teach, and the teacher across the hall is teaching the exact same thing. And he goes, I don't have to worry about if we're on the same place because he's using the same manual I am. All right, goal number 3. This is create a school climate and environment that is safe, supportive, inclusive, and respectful. And this is just a small part of it. We're just beginning restorative justice practices. We're just on the foundation of what that is, and we're learning about what it is. Our school is working with Grants High School and Los Alamitos, so we're figuring this out together. Our counselor, I'm not going to tell you much more than that I can't already tell you what a great job she's doing. Miss B did that, and then our attendance. This is a tough time. The attendance program that we have right now. Oh, listen to myself. I have to do that all day. The attendance is a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, because of the way that the change in the laws and how things are. We're working with it. So promoting that, the district office is giving us a lot of incentives to give to kids. Popcorn parties, stickers, those kind of things, and they're really making a difference. And our goal number 4 is engaging our diverse families, communities, in student success. Juvenile probation office is always available to us. They actually do our, they come in, we have dances. They are at our dances helping us out. The Department of Health Teen Center I can't tell you what a blessing that is to have that on your campus. I never heard of a school having a teen center where they have a doctor, a physician's assistant on campus for kids all the time. On-site visit by Laguna Acma Department of Education and Pueblo Laguna as well. Our Community Welding Club Showcase, that's coming up. We're gonna be doing another showcase. You guys are welcome to come out and see the work from our students and the community. And then Equity Success Coordinator, Laguna Acma, and the Diversity and Inclusion. This is something that's up and coming, and we're starting to see this pay dividends. We're starting to see how teachers who are from different cultures, different backgrounds, how they can be diverse in teaching all students, not just the Native American students, not just the Hispanic, but all students, and making sure that we're reaching them, putting them all. And this partnership, that's why I have that shaking hands, this partnership is really starting to materialize at Laguna Acma. I think that's all I have for you. Except the thing in front of you. So we couldn't make it to your school board recognition week. So everybody, we gave you guys all the school board members. I'm sorry, directors, you didn't get one, but you weren't part of the school board. So we gave you a Laguna Acma shirt for you guys to wear. We'd love to see those out in the community. And Miss Daly, yours is here. We specifically gave you a blue one so you can represent Laguna Acma colors. But we wanted to give you guys something from the administration of Laguna Acma, and thank you for all that you guys do and to make sure that you feel like you are part of our school. I think that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me? I know I talked 100 miles an hour. I know I gave you a lot of information, but questions?
Questions, board members?
No, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You're doing a good job out there.
I'd just like to add, I want to affirm that I went to go visit, congratulate the volleyball team last year when they were champs. When I was there for the celebration, right up front, they talked about the GPA, the academics, before any of the athletic successes. I really appreciated that. Went back to congratulate them again this year. Once again, the students are very proud of their GPAs and how they were doing with the academics at an athletic event. So that's really kudos to your staff and your students there.
Sanchez, you did that. Thank you all very much for the time.
Thank you. Well done. Arlene? Okay, Kosa.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
What's your last name?
I think you have many more things besides those listed from what I was hearing. Science, student, class sponsor, Mesa leadership. I think you listed 3 or 4 more things. For all of you, extend our appreciation to all of the staff. They are doing doing excellent work, and we encourage you to continue on and reinforce them. And it's a new day, new world with us out of the COVID era. Now we can really push things along as fast as we can. You're doing a good job. Mr. Pettis.
Ms. Hunt, Daly. She has her hand.
Yes, Mr. Sanchez, thank you very much for the T-shirt. Those are the only kind of T-shirts I wear. I have none other. And so, and jackets as well. In fact, some people ask me that when I work at another school, how come you're always wearing those LA jackets? And I says, well, these are the only ones I have. And these were for free. They gave them to me when I was a coach. So I prefer to wear my LA jacket. And thank you for your presentation, Mr. Sanchez. LA is my alma mater, and it's close to my heart, and I want to make sure that our students are receiving the best care, education, and supervision as possible. So thank you very much for your report, and don't wear out Miss Boiska. We want her there for a couple more years. Okay, we want you there for a couple more years. And so your dedication is very appreciated, especially for our students who sometimes they don't have much in life. And so thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Ashambo.
Thank you. Mr. Pettis, let's continue.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, Board. Next up, we have the in the school site successes, CTE. We had some students visit the Roundhouse, and it was a nice event. We have Mr. Rivera and company.
Hello, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Pettis. My name is Jesse Rivera. I'm the residential construction teacher at Grants High School. I also the skills sponsor, Skills USA sponsor for Grants High School. I had the opportunity to take a group of students to CTE Day at the Roundhouse. They got to go in and speak with our regional senator, Senator Munoz. He had the opportunity to talk with the students, ask them any questions, if they had any questions. The students got to respond to him. What was really nice was I think Mr. Munoz got to put a face to what he's pushing for at the Roundhouse for CTE. So that was great. The students also got to go into the house and sit in on them while they were passing bills, while they were presenting bills. A lot of those people that are in there and those senators that are down there, they were a part of CTE. They were a part of either Skills or MESA or HOSA. And I think it really opened up the eyes of the students to see that being a part of those programs and being able to represent those programs is going to take them really far. I have Mr. Garcia here, Clemente Garcia, and also Sean Paul. They both going to talk a little bit about their experience out there, and turn it over to Mr. Garcia.
Hello, Mr. President and other members of the board and Superintendent Pettis. We had a very fun and exciting trip to Santa Fe. We got to see the Senate at the Roundhouse pass bills. We got to meet Senator Munoz. We also got to learn about the CTE program and how it could help students find a career that they are interested in and how they could build off of that career so they could have a successful job in the future.
Great. Excellent. Sean?
I think also we have Sean Paul, are you on?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Council. Good afternoon, President.
Just a little bit of background. I didn't know Sean Paul until last weekend, and the night before we got to go to the Roundhouse, they were able to sit with a lady who was talking about, or she was teaching them how to speak to adults, how to converse with everybody. And one of the exercises that they had to go up to the adults in the room. The adults had to take notes on how they approached them, how their handshake was, if they gave eye contact. And Sean Paul picked the director that was putting on the whole thing she was teaching them how to speak, and Sean Paul picked her to walk up to and talk to. And I'll tell you guys right now, GCCS, the district, was very well represented by Sean Paul. He's an amazing student. So go ahead, Sean.
Cool. Thank you for that. And that trip was pretty amazing. There's a whole lot of information coming from a lot of head people in the council. And I appreciate that information that they give us because it gives us the mindset of adult, not of a young adult, but of adult, into what we're capable of as young adults or young, and how we can change the future by the steps that they're giving us or the supplies that they're providing us. So throughout that whole trip, because we had different exercises and getting to know each other, we had plenty of times to talk to different council members. It was a pretty amazing trip. So after that, it gave me a different mindset. It gave me more confidence. It was definitely a confidence booster. It gave me insights to think out of the box and not in. So I'll say.
Great. Good job. Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Comments? Any?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
I think it's a really remarkable experience. Not too many students get a chance to go to the Roundhouse. And both the high schools were well represented. Richard?
Oh, congratulations, way to go, great trip.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Well said.
representing us.
Both of you.
They represented well. I promise you that.
It's kind of scary, but I think you overcame that and will be more than willing to do that again. Remember, these guys were high school students before, so you are ahead of the game in being involved with the politics of New Mexico. And now you understand. I see pictures of things going on. I see the pictures of you students there at the Roundhouse right now. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Who's on data? I can't see you.
Okay, Mr. President, I'd just like to share, if the students notice that the age group of the senator representatives is getting younger and younger. So I expect Mr. Sean Paul and others that Roundhouse will be filled with some of you. Even the school board learned quite a bit of information at our sessions, and that's the reason why we go. But it's just important that you understand that the political side of our state, and hope that some of you will have those political aspirations to join those others in the Roundhouse. And that's a step, and this is the first step in learning just what is involved in our government. So appreciate the time that you spent there and learn from it, as well as at school. These are your first milestones that you have to accomplish. So keep up the good work, and we hope to hear from you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you all. Mr. Pettis, we will continue on to the next agenda item, and feel free to stay or. Mr. Pettis.
Yes, Mr. President, Board, the next up is we have one of our latest assessments that's closed up, and that is the IMASA State Assessment Middle of the Year data presented by Ms. Sanchez.
Are you gonna do a dance?
What's that?
Are you doing a dance?
No dances here. No. I don't like to have my back to these guys right here. They're all
Yeah, you gotta watch out.
So,
Oh, I didn't see you back there too.
Okay, so just a reminder, Mr. President, Board, that this is our interim assessment. This is our middle of the year assessment. This assessment is designed to measure progress towards on-grade level proficiency for reading, for language use, and for math. And so baselines are used when we're looking at this data, when we're looking at all of our data. We've set those baselines at the very beginning, and these are used at the district level, at the school level, at the grade level, at the teacher level, at the student level, and down to the item analysis for each item and each standard that we test. So we're comparing data from the beginning of the year for August of 2022 to the middle of the year, January 2023. And so IMASA assesses students in, like I said, reading, language use, and math, and these are only for grades 3 through 8. And so I know this is really small, but the big arrow is the one that you need to pay attention to here. And so this is for reading. You're seeing right now the first box is for 3rd grade, and the bottom box is for 4th grade. So this is just for reading. And we saw increases in scores from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year in 3rd grade and in 4th grade reading. This is language use, and this is for 3rd and 4th grade as well. And so you're also seeing increases there. This is for reading for 5th and 6th grade, and we saw increases in both of those grade levels. Language use in 5th grade, we did see an increase. In 6th grade, we were right about the same. see a trend from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade here. Reading in 7th and 8th grade, we saw a decrease, not very big at all. We also were on the same trend as the state with that decrease. When I went to Mr. Sanchez and to Mr. Jaramillo, immediately when we saw this one decrease in these 2 grade levels, they already had a plan with their instructional coach on what was going on, what happened, why did we see a decrease, and what they were gonna do to fix it. And we heard earlier thinking outside the box, and I can guarantee you both of these gentlemen already had thinking outside the box, some other tutoring, some getting ready for the next assessment, things like that. They already had it before Mr. Pettis and I could even get to them. They already knew what they were gonna do. Language use for 7th and 8th grade went up. So that was very encouraging there. And now we get to the very, very exciting things. So I want to remind you all that we've seen some pretty dismal scores in math. We've seen some decreases in math, and so we pledged to make math our priority across all grade levels, kindergarten through 12. We've done extra math PD. We've brought in some other people to do some math PD. We've done extra PLCs for math, and 3rd grade and 4th grade math, you can see that we have increases. 5th and 6th grade math, we have increases. 7th and 8th grade math, we have increases. All of our math scores for the whole district improved. So from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year, we didn't have anybody dip. We saw improvement for each of our students in math from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. So we're very, very proud of those results. Subpopulations are also showing growth. Remember that this is beginning of the year to the middle of the year. Our Native American students showed growth for each tribe in reading, language use, and in math. Special education students showed growth in each area, reading, language, and math. 5th grade was a really good example in reading. We had 0 students on an IEP in 5th grade on target at the beginning of the school year. By the middle of the school year, we're showing 60% near target and 20% on target. That's 80% of our students that are either almost to the target that they need to be at or already on that target. So we're really focusing on those 20% that need intense interventions and that 60% that need a little bump to get to the next, so where they're on target. Our English language learners also showed great gains. I think that's what I have. That's all of it. So super exciting for our middle of the year assessment data. Gains in almost all areas. Are there any questions?
Board members?
Mr. President, you said that the one declination that you had in here was a statewide trend. Did they give some hint as to why? You know, just something that's across the board?
We just have the ability to see the statewide results. And so I take all of those statewide results and put them next to our district results. And so the first thing when I saw that we had one area that dropped, which was reading in 7th and 8th grade, I looked at the statewide data too, and we're right there. And there used to be quite a gap between statewide data and district data, and it wasn't in our favor necessarily. The gap is a lot smaller, and in several cases, Mr. Pettis and I were sitting and looking at every single grade level, and in several cases, the district has outperformed the state. And so that's another thing. There's not a trend, like there's not something that I can show that's like in all of these grade levels, but in several areas, we've outperformed the state.
And that's good, you know, I just want to make sure there was something that was just out there for whatever reason. And all of a sudden, if it's a trend statewide, and maybe even nationwide, who knows?
So I'll give you the example of Laguna Acoma. I talked to their instructional coach and I talked to Mr. Sanchez here and I said, okay, what are we gonna do? What happened? And right away, Ms. Trujillo says, well, I talked to my students and they said maybe reading the test would be a good idea, you know? And so the next assessment that they had, they all pledged. And something that they're doing out there that's been very effective is meeting with students and saying, this is where you're at right now. You know, this is where the rest of the district is. What can we do to get you there? And so even just an awareness of we're looking at this and this is important for you has made a difference for their school.
So making them wholeheartedly aware of where they're at, where they need to be.
Student conferencing.
Yes, exactly.
Mr. Hayes, Mr. President, just to add to that, there is a historical piece here. About 9 or 10 years ago, when we still had the grades, letter grades in place for the schools, middle schools struggled statewide. If you looked at all the grades throughout the state, middle schools are always a step lower for some reason. And to this day, we still haven't figured out why that happened.
You said it only goes to the 8th grade. Help us to understand that.
This is an interim assessment. This is what is supposed to be a good predictor of our end of the year state assessment. And so those go from 3rd grade to 8th grade. So that's what this particular assessment is. So our district assessments that we have quarterly are kindergarten to 12th grade. But for this particular one that is given by the state, it's an interim assessment and it's only offered from 3rd to 8th grade.
So that's 3 times a year.
This is 3 times a year, yes.
How do we measure progress with high school students?
For high school students, we are using their interim assessments, and then we're really looking at the examining student work, where our students are beginning where they are right now at the middle, and what we need to do to get them to the end. And so they're having their PLCs regularly, and these 2 administrators are in those PLCs, 3 administrators. Ms. Coles is there too. Can't see you behind Mr. Sanchez. But they're in those PLCs regularly to examine that student work, and that's what they're looking at.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? We got another semester. Let's go get them. Let's keep on keeping those scores rising, performances, and making those one-to-one contacts with students. That's really vital. A lot of kids can, in the years gone by, would blow those things off and would not really read the test, and they just go right through. We remember those. You may be in one of those. So, but thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mr. Pettis.
Sir, Mr. President, Board, next up, it's that time of year to take a closer look at our graduation cohort groups and get a status report from our high school principals. So. R3 high school.
Ready to go first.
Oh, thanks.
E and then G.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm here to report on the early college graduation report. We have 10 seniors graduating. 5 are graduating with their high school diploma and an associate's degree. The other 5, yay. The other 5 are working on their high school diploma. Well, I guess I better tell you about the 5 that are graduating with the high school diploma and associate's degree. 1 is from Laguna, 2 are Hispanic, 1 is Asian, and 1 is Anglo. The 5 that are working on their high school diplomas, 2 are from the Laguna tribe, and 1 is Acoma, and the other 2 are Hispanic. 3 of them I noticed were struggling a little bit in December, so I changed the matrix up a little bit in January. I extended some more learning time for them during the day. They are attending Edgenuity classes and receiving enrichment help. And I also have them up to about 40% complete in their classes so far. So I'm not letting them straggle behind. We're pushing. So that's my good news with my seniors at early college.
Thank you.
Hello again, board members. Mr. Hayes, you're new to the board, so I will let you know, this is my favorite time to report. I like to report this information to the board because I feel like this is kind of my job. I mean, I'm the principal, my job is to get kids through high school and graduated and on to the rest of life. So I'm always proud to share this information because I feel like it's me doing my job. A little information about the cohort of 2023. The class of 2023 are the freshmen that, when the pandemic hit, were sent home. They're the students that went home in the spring of 2020. They immediately started doing packet work. They started working on their Chromebooks. As you all remember, the PED required that all students passed if they were actively participating in their work. In 2021, they did online classes, they did classes from home, from hotspots, and then we went hybrid at the end of that year. And then For their junior year, they were back at school, wearing masks, following protocols and small numbers. And so our numbers are a little impacted at Grants High School. Typically, we usually have 180 kids in a cohort in the last 4 years that I've been there. This year, our cohort is smaller. We lost some of those kids to virtual schools. There's a couple of competitive virtual schools that are in the area. There's one that's a statewide virtual school. And we have our virtual school as well that we continue to keep working with. Currently in our cohort, there's 162 students. Out of those 162, 27 of them are from the Pueblo of Acoma. 77 of them are Hispanic. There are 14 Caucasian students, 30 Navajo students, and 14 other students. Other is a smaller cohort that could be, it could be an Asian student, it could be a student from the Pueblo of Zuni, or from Zuni. And so that's our demographics of who our senior class is. As we're doing these meetings and looking at our kids, we divide them into kind of like a stoplight. You know, we use stoplights in school, green, yellow, and red. If you look at the green kids, the green students have the credits, they've met the graduation requirements, they have good grades right now, they're totally on track to participate in commencement. In looking at our class of 2023, there are 115 students that are in the green. That means they have straight A's, they're on the honor roll, they're passing their classes, they have the dual credit, they've taken their coursework, and they will have 26 credits by the time commencement rolls around. We have 24 students that are in our yellow. And those students, I call them the bubble students. They're the students that you absolutely have to pass your dual credit class to participate in commencement. You have to pass government. You have to pass your financial literacy math class. They have to pass their coursework before commencement. We're going to get them there. We're having those meetings and we're talking to their families and we're saying, hey, you know, it's really important that he passes dual credit class or he passed the AP class. And so we're calling those parents in and talking to the bubble families. There are 23 students that I say are the red students. And those are the students that are near the mark. They might have 20 credits, but they probably are going to need summer school. So they won't be able to participate in commencement. They'll actually earn their diploma in June when we do summer school. And there's 23 of those students. So there's 139 that will be at commencement. That's, again, about 20 less than we normally have. And typically this time of year, we usually have around 20 students that we're looking at trying to get across that line. And of course, there will be opportunities. We're doing the extended year. We have online programs, we have virtual programs. And so we're working with those 23 students. We're very fortunate. We have great partners in Laguna Department of Education, Acoma Department of Education. They work with us with our Title VI coordinator, and they are very helpful in working with families. Unfortunately, we don't have a liaison person from the Navajo reservation. So there's several students there that, you know, we're really meeting with the families and trying to meet with the families and get those students on track. There will be 139 at commencement for sure.
I get to brag about Laguna and Acoma twice today. So right now we have 53 seniors, 7 are Acoma, 44 are Laguna, 1 Hispanic, and 1 other. Of these 53 seniors, we have all of our students all 53 are on track to graduate. We do have 3, which I guess labeled probably our bubble kids. 1 was a student that didn't graduate last year and just kind of fell off the face of the earth. He didn't come back right before Christmas. He stopped coming to school. So I sent our security guard and our EWS person to knock on his door, and he was at school yesterday. So normally you drop him after that 10 days, but I didn't want to give up on the student. And so I met with him, we talked about what he needs to do. We were gonna meet today, tomorrow we're coming up with his plan that we're gonna make him successful. We're not gonna allow him to make the choice of not graduating. He only needs one class. The other two are dual credit classes. We're working on those. We're working with Ms. Toydanen on how we can get those students more successful in our dual credit program. That being the tutoring from 1 to 3 in the afternoons. We're requiring them, they have to stay for that now. We work with the parents. I was telling Ms. Sanchez today that all my SSAs have made an individual meeting with every student, sent them a letter home saying, on Tuesday is your appointment to meet with me at 10 o'clock. Mom or dad, would you like to be there, or is it okay we meet with your child without them there? This way we give the parent to be involved in that meeting if they want to come to campus. If not, then at least they meet with the student, and then they send a report home saying, this is your requirements, this is what your transcripts look like, this is you're ready to graduate, so long as you keep doing what you're doing. So all those appointments are gonna be happening in the next 2 weeks, just to make sure, it's like after Christmas, it's like restarting them all over again and getting them going. So we're gonna restart them again, just to make sure we don't have any students not graduate. But I gotta give our success to our SSAs and how hard they work. They are constantly with those students and making sure that, I guess nobody's left behind, kind of thing. But any questions for me, guys? Thank you.
Board members? Questions,
Question for
comments?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, all three of you.
Thank you. Good work.
School calendar. Mr. Pettis.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, Board, went through the process as we do each year to get the calendar set for the next year. Dr. Martin has some information on this.
How'd you technology?
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Perez. So last month, we actually started with the calendar process this year. So the first step that we actually did prior to setting this meeting up is myself, Miss Cynthia Wilson, and Reina's office get together to at least come up with 2 calendar options that we can present during the meeting, plus giving them a third blank calendar that they can use to suggest an additional option to the 2 that we've presented. So and after we've come up with 2 calendar options and a third blank calendar that we attached with the calendar invitation that we sent out to 34 guests in this case. We included the president of NMSU Grants. We included a representative from Haku Academy, from the Navajo Nation, from the Pueblo of Laguna, from the Grants Head Start, and the 2 private schools that we have in the district. All principals and assistants, and a few teachers, instructional coaches, and all department heads that we have in the district. We then met on January 11th, and it was I've heard principals say that was one of the best discussions they've had, for a calendar meeting, and we've in my opinion we've come up they came up with the best 2 calendar options that they can come up with. And here are the 2 calendar options that everyone in the meeting actually came up with. They've decided to not add a calendar option in the 2 that were already there, but they did suggest a few changes to the ones that were presented to them initially. And one of the reasons for their suggestions is to make the semesters more balanced, because in the prior calendars that we had, we actually had more instructional days in the first semester than the second semester. Their suggestions actually made our semesters more balanced and gave us more instructional days in the second semester, when more standards are actually there for the teachers to discuss during that time. If I could point out a few, there are only a few differences in the 2 calendars. I actually marked them in red in the 2 calendars that are shown on the screen. December 29th, when calendar A, the district is not closed, meaning the 248 days still work, and calendar B, when the 248 days are also off. And then the other difference is February 19th of 2024, when on calendar A, the entire district is closed. And in calendar B, students don't go to school, but it's a PD day for teachers and staff. Another difference would be May of 2024, when May 28th is a PD day for calendar A, and for calendar B, it's the start of ELTP. And because in calendar A, May 28th is a PD day, that will extend the ELTP days to June 11th. And on calendar B, the end of the ELTP will only be on June 10th. Now, the reason for the additional PD day for calendar A is because of taking the February 19th as a district holiday. So that's the reason for the additional day on May 28th, is taking February 19th as a holiday. As what call this in calendar B, when February 19th is a PD day, then the teachers don't have to add one additional PD day in May. And so these are the 2 calendars that we gave each department and school in the district to vote on. And in the next slide is the result of the poll for each school and department in the district. I should say there was a good turnout, because we have about 500 staff, teachers and staff in the district, and this is somewhere in that vicinity where calendar A actually came out as the one that a majority of our staff prefer. That's all I have. I stand for any questions.
My eyes are getting pretty old. Can't see too well,
Apologies.
so it's pretty small. So keep that in mind. I have to have 2 glasses, and I think I have to have a third one. So that makes it difficult. The board is typically interested in this to make sure. So board comments, questions? Mr. Jones?
I think you gotta take Veterans Day off. There's so many veterans that work for us. Without veterans, we don't have school like we have it right now. It's November 10th. It's a nationally recognized holiday. Why in the world would we, then that's not any that's not, wasn't on either option, Veterans Day off. So please,
So give that,
I would like Veterans Day, our staff to have Veterans Day off.
give some consideration to that when it comes up for the vote the next meeting. Okay, and anything else that we need to address, make sure that the communities are, our constituents are kind of see this, so they kind of have give an idea, and they can get some input back.
I know it's not that easy, I know it shifts.
Yeah, it always is.
But to me, Veterans Day is essential. I think it's.
Yeah.
We actually had feedback from Veterans Day, from veterans that said that they like to see the schools do something for them on that day. So they like to go to the school with the kids there and have performances. And so we were thinking the same way you were, Mr. Jones, and so we were thinking that same way, and that's the feedback that we got. And so I don't know, I don't think it's everybody, but that's just some of the things that we heard.
I know those and have
Yeah.
spoke to those. That also doesn't help the veterans that work for the Grants County
Right.
County School District, and that's who I want to thank.
Yeah.
And if we have to, let's do it on the 9th, if we're doing a Veterans Day celebration.
Let's work on it and see what we come up with.
And I know
And,
it's not that as easy as I made it.
Yeah.
I do understand.
because we've seen it every,
I do.
how many,
It's something
every
we-
year, we got a problem. And now the state legislature may be trying to do a little more tinkering with this. So what do we hear about the state legislature? Have they decided to do anything?
Nothing's all the way through yet.
So stay tuned. We may adopt a calendar and we may end up having to revise it if the legislature decides to do something else. But let's get it out to the communities, to our stakeholder groups, and get some more feedback. And then let's see how we can work this out again. But it's an annual ongoing struggle to squeeze in. I know parents don't want to start early. And it always has been a challenge to get all these minutes in.
Yeah, I was gonna do my normal way. This is crazy. We should start after Labor Day and be done by Memorial Day.
Yes.
But I didn't, because I do believe that. I
Well,
also
then-
believe we should go to school 4 days a week. So
I got-
I wasn't doing all that. And I wouldn't discount y'all's labor.
You got
either,
two votes for that, so, you know, we might get a couple more. No, starting after Labor Day.
Yeah, that's what I need to- I showed you.
Well, no, I agree with you.
Million.
I agree.
You know, well, there we go. Thank you for gaming this out. Do a little more gaming again, and let's see what we come up with the next board meeting. Okay. So thank you. F, annual budget development.
Sir, Mr. President, Board, it's that time of year again, where Mr. Maldonado has scoped out the timeline for the budget process from now until summer.
Good evening again, board members, Mr. President, board members, and Mr. Superintendent. So as you can see in front of you, the paper I gave you, this is the representation of what we've mapped out so far with our schedule for putting together the 23-24 school year budget. Not unlike what we did last year, where we started with today, our initial presentation. I was going to, our next finance committee, I'm going to review some of the upcoming issues affecting the budget, especially those things that are coming out of the legislature, and also some of the items that we already know about. And so I wanted to make sure that I was able to present that to the finance committee, which I will then translate and present to the full board at some point. Our NMASBO Winter Conference is next week, the 15th to the 17th. Then on Tuesday, March 7th, I'm hoping to present an update to the board and begin meeting with principals and directors regarding their staffing needs. That moves into the 8th, where we start working on our PED budget, and tribal consultations begin, and our presentation to the staff and to the community, all those forums that we held. Hopefully by April 3rd, we put our staffing plan together, and we'll estimate what our federal awards will be. And again, trying to meet with the board finance committee to bring them up to speed. Then the big meeting is the spring budget workshop, at which we receive our unit value. That's the budget workshop that's put on by the PED, where we learn a whole lot about what the PED is doing in the next upcoming year. maybe some other allocations that would come out of the legislative session, those kinds of things, and really begin to formulate and put sort of the meat on and bones on our budget. And we'll have a draft budget ready by April 17th, review that with the superintendent and the directors. And then take that draft budget to the board finance committee, also provide a board review and comment. Then anticipating that our PED budget forms will be done by the 28th. We'll update all our fund balances and then present to the board by May 2nd and have it up to the PED by May 5th. You'll also see the schedule back here on the bottom on the feedback sessions that we anticipate holding again and making that available to all of our different stakeholders. That's our planning budget document right now. Some of it may change as we move and go forward, but I plan to keep you abreast on all those changes as we move forward. I stand for any questions you might have.
Ms. Daly, Dr. Guy had to step out for a little bit, so he wanted you to take over.
Okay, I'm ready. Any questions from the board for Mr. Maldonado?
I just hope we can stay on task, that's all. That's a hard thing to do.
And Mr. Maldonado does a pretty good
We
job
stay
of
on it,
staying on,
so.
and from the board. I just wanted, just thought of something, you mentioned PED, you all are aware that our Secretary of Ed is no longer the Secretary of Ed as of, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, we were informed that the Secretary of Education, Kurt Steinhaus, retired effective immediately, so we have an interim secretary who will be the lead, I guess, in all of this as we go forward. I don't know much about her. Her name is Mariana Padilla, interim Secretary of Education. And I wasn't able to make the meeting to meet her, but hope the best.
Dr. Guy, Mr. Pettis, I did get a chance to meet with her and give her my card. And so we're going to schedule a meeting, hopefully, and invite her down to meet with us. She's just the new appointee so far. We don't know if it's going to be interim or it's going to be finalized, but she's very willing to meet with us and discuss any problems or things that we do have. So the only question I have for Mr. Maldonado is that this recent past audit that we did go through, and you understand the scrutiny that we're under with them, I guess you might say, looking over our budget. We're not going to have the same problem that they indicated at our hearing. I'm sure you're seeing to that's not going to be an issue this coming year, right?
I'd like to.
Mr. Pettis?
Yes, Mr. President and Board. I think one of the biggest complaints of the LFC with us is the amount of our cash balance. And I will continue to argue that we were in a healthy state, and I think we're better stewards of the taxpayer money and the amounts that we are holding as opposed to the amounts that are proposed to us. I just think there's not a good understanding from that side about how the carryover cash is utilized. It's necessary. It's not like a luxury amount of money that you tuck into the bank. This money we have to reimburse federal. We have to spend that money until we get reimbursed from our federal funds. We also needed to do our summer payrolls and things like that. That's not understood completely by the LFC. So I think, even though, Ms. Hunt, with all due respect, I think that, they criticized us for some of these things, but I'd have to argue that I think that we're doing it the right way in my mind. And I would like to see what they're talking about now in the legislative session, and because I know it's a hot topic there this next few weeks.
Can I add one more thing to that? The LFC, recommended that the board consider a minimum or maximum number, dollar amount or percentage of cash on hand. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that we have, Mr. Perez and I have already talked about that with the Finance Committee in terms of our sort of overarching strategy for how we manage cash, that we sort of put a pin in 10% of our operating, of our budget, which is about $10 million, and we're right there. So I think that's a very prudent use or sort of strategy. I think the LFC is really looking forward to see if we could formalize that, which I don't think is a bad idea. Well, let me give you one example of how that cash is used in daily operating. So last year, or for this current school year, we budgeted $3.5 million in impact aid allocation. We have yet this year to receive 1 penny of that. So all of the people who are funded, the salaries and all that who are funded through impact aid, through our budget, through our impact aid budget, we're carrying that with GO money right now. And it's not until we get that impact aid money that we're able to replace those funds. And that's just one of 26 different funds, of which, as Mr. Perez said earlier, that we're carrying through. And you'll see in the cash report for this quarter, for example, we are still waiting on $6.5 million in reimbursements for ESSER funds that we have to finish submitting and getting approvals for. So those are the daily sort of challenges that we face every day. But I wanted to give you an idea of just the magnitude of how much money is really out there and why it's important for us to keep enough days of cash on hand in order to fluidly fund the district in its daily operations. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Ashambo.
Thank you. The one thing I'd like to stress this is the major area of our responsibility, our authority. So we need to be influential into what it is that we're trying to do here. Secondly, we do have a strategic plan. We need to ensure that we use the funds in order to accomplish the things that we say we want to have accomplished, those goals, the things that these guys are talking about. We're hearing feedback from schools about some things they're trying to do. We need to make sure we try to address those kinds of things. So we have our goals, we have our strategies, our actions. We need to ensure that we have a budget that reflects what it is that we say we want to do and get the results that we want to get. And so that doesn't show up in here, but we need to make sure that we do take advantage of this opportunity to create a budget that we consider as a board to be in the interest of our communities and our children. So we need to, as you're structuring the design of this, we need to figure out how we can build a budget that is guided by the strategic plan and the priorities that are going to be coming forth from that for this coming year. Thank you. Anything else? Seeing none, action items.
Okay, Mr. President, board first action item is consideration approval of the Laguna Acoma HVAC control project. I recommend that we approve this.
Any discussion about it first? Any explanation?
Timeline to get it completed?
Timeline?
We have Mr. Triplehorn and Mr. Montano. Mr. Triplehorn, would you like to give a generalized summary?
Yes, so this is to complete the heating and cooling upgrades we did at Laguna Acoma. This will put it on our automated system. Right now, we just have temporary thermostats in there that are not the most utility efficient method to have in there. So I've been working with Mr. Montano from Honeywell. He's designed a system for us that will bring us into the new age of controls for HVAC. So Ramon, what is the timeline on that? Oh, you went away.
Can you hear me now?
He's still there.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Triplehorn, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Pettis. From the time we get the PO, it should be less than 6 weeks. We're ready to go to move forward to make this happen fairly quick, very quickly, actually.
Is that what you, okay,
And this will
Thank
give
you.
you guys visibility now that you currently don't have, to ensure that, you know, you're energy efficient at that school and that you'll have a better control of the heating and cooling throughout that building.
thank you. Appreciate that. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve.
So move.
Motion made by Richard Jones, seconded by, is there a second?
Second.
Emiliano Daly, seconded in approval for Laguna Yakima HVAC control project as presented. Roll call.
Emily Hunt Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hayes,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Aye.
Ron Ortiz,
Yes.
Dr. Guy Archambault.
Yes, motion carries. Mr. Pettis.
Sir, Mr. President, board next action item is consideration of approval of welding equipment and supplies for Grants High School and Laguna Yakima High School. I do recommend that we approve this as presented.
Is this self-evident or do we need any explanation?
Let's go.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion made by Mr. Jones, seconded by,
No second.
seconded by Mr. Ron Ortiz, and approval of a resolution to submit an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority for assistance to acquire educational technology equipment application resolution. As presented, is it roll call?
Emily Hunt Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hayes,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Aye.
Ron Ortiz,
Yes.
Dr. Guy Archambault.
Yes, motion carries. C,
President Board, recommend, there's consideration of approval for fire alarm upgrade at Los Alamitos Middle School, and I recommend that the board approve this action item as presented.
any explanation, discussion needed? Seeing none? Call for motion.
So moved.
So moved
So
by
moved.
Bob Hayes, seconded by
Second. Second.
Emily, you're slow. Gotta speed up. Emily Hunt Daly, approval of the adoption of the 2023-24. Wait a minute.
Wait.
Of the fire alarm upgrade at Los Alamitos Middle School. As presented. Roll call.
Emily Hunt Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hayes,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Aye.
Ron Ortiz,
Yes.
Dr. Guy Archambault.
Yes, motion carries for fire alarm upgrade at Los Alamitos Middle School. Motion carries. Okay, consent agenda.
President Board, I recommend that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion, we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Jones first made a motion, seconded by Bob Hayes, and approval of the consent agenda as presented. Roll call.
Emily Hunt Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hayes.
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Aye.
Ron Ortiz,
Yes.
Dr. Guy Archambault.
Yes, motion carries. Superintendent's report.
Mr. President, Board, I wanted to give an update on security training, our security guards, along with now meeting regularly with Mr. Triplehorn with security. Having all the guards get trained up at least to, there's 3 different levels of guardsmanship, level 1, 2, and 3. I've asked that all of our guards at least go through the level 1 training, level 2 for some, and then level 3, of course, gets you up to the level where if the board ever decides that we want armed guards, those guards would be qualified to carry an arm. So there'd be a lot more discussion, of course, for that to come, but I wanted to make sure that all of our guards were trained at least through level 1, and that we have a good force of guards that are leveled up to the level 3, just in case we can, since we don't have our SROs anymore, we thought that might be a good idea to have, think about having our own guards armed. And I'm not proposing that all guards carry arms, but at least having enough to have our community and staff and students feel safe. And so that's ongoing. It's through Apex training out of Albuquerque. We've gone, we had a few guards start the process. I went through the training myself because I wanted to hear what they're being told. And so we're proceeding with that.
Mr. Pettis, will there not be a need for the board to set policy on any of these?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll need to have this come up at some point. Others, other?
Yeah. So this is also connected with security, and Mr. Triplehorn has taken the lead and taking on the Stop It app. It's an anonymous reporting system that's fairly becoming fairly popular, for fortunately and unfortunately. But it's a means of where anybody can report something without any fear of consequence. Mr. Triplehorn, do you want to give us a quick update?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. President, members of the board. So Stop It is an anonymous reporting app. It's used for students to safely report, any safety concerns, any social emotional issues. It connects directly with a crisis center, a national crisis center that can direct them to any resources that they may need. We'll also alert the school about any potential issues. So we've been working on this for about 6 weeks now. All of the schools, the administrative teams are all trained in this now. They're working on some of their team members. Some of them still need to be trained, but we are at a point now. I met with the company yesterday, and we're at a point where we can actually roll it out. So tomorrow I'm going to be rolling out or sending out an email to the principals that we will be officially rolling this out to the schools on Monday. So we're going to start putting our posters up that shows the kids how to download the app. I'll be getting with technology to push this app out to their Chromebooks so they can use their Chromebooks to report as well. There's also the old school phone number type thing that they can call. Once we get it successfully rolled out to the students, we're going to roll it out to the parents. So the parents can anonymously report stuff to the school. If the kid doesn't want to do it because they're being bullied or whatever, they can report that to the school. The parents can do that. Of course, it is anonymous, but teachers and principals do know. They can look at the way a kid writes something or something specific that they say, and we can kind of figure out, especially if it's something that they're gonna be hurting themselves or they have suicidal ideations or anything like that. We'll be able to narrow that down fairly quickly. Now, if a kid does actually say that they're going to be killing themselves, we will break anonymity and get what's called a friendly warrant to have the company give us the IP address and location of where that student was making that report from, because we don't want to have to do a bunch of legwork to figure that out, because it might be too late at that point. So like I said, we'll be rolling this out on Monday. And I'd be happy to show you guys how it works once we get it going out there.
Comments, questions?
Good plan.
I'd like to have a further explanation, particularly in light of the incident back east, where the district is alleged to have failed to respond promptly to the student who shot his teacher. And so that meant that there was some prior notice, and we need to make sure we address those kinds of things. We also
So-
need to make sure that we recognize that though there are certain kinds of emotional disabilities that may be in play with some of this. So I think we would want to reassure the public that we are paying attention to this in a very organized, structured way.
So Dr. Archambault, one of the main features of this is if we do get a report on this app that is something like that, the school has to respond to it within a certain amount of time. If they don't, then I, as the district safety director, will get an alert that says that the school has not addressed a serious concern that's been reported. And so then at that point, I would intervene and go down to the school and ask them, why haven't you dealt with this incident yet? So it keeps track of what they deal with. They have to acknowledge that they received it. They have to acknowledge that they dealt with the situation, and then they have to close the ticket out. It's kind of like a work order system, I guess, if you will. So we will have that backup there in this instance if stuff is reported using this app.
So the next time we need to have a written explanation of all the procedures that are required, that we require to safeguard all individuals on campus and be able to communicate with all safety and police resources in the community to address this immediately. I think that we need to take that time, and if there's a need for policy improvement, then we need to do that too. Thank you, Mr. Pettis and Mr. Triplehorn. There's one last item, and I'm going to tell you that I will want you, it would be appreciative if you report it. It has to do with impact aid. And Mr. Sanchez, Andy Sanchez notified me in my conversation with him this afternoon, is that he was informed that the state of New Mexico was surrendering to our position with respect to getting all the funds. They were no longer going to contend with it legally anymore. So I think at the next board meeting, we'll get a full report on that. I don't think Mr. Sanchez is online right now, unless he is. He may be on the executive session.
He'll be on an executive.
So just wanted to heads up some good news on funding. Okay, Mr. Pettis, announcements. We missing anything? No. Yes, we are. Executive session. See, I need new pairs of glasses. We are at the executive session and it's at 7:14. Discussion of limited personnel matters pursuant to section 1015-1 H2 of the Open Meetings Act for discussion and evaluation. Superintendent, including receipt of presentation by superintendent on his evaluation pursuant to section 1015-187 of the Open Meetings Act. Do you have a recommendation? So
Recommend that we go into executive session.
Okay. And we are allowed to call in our attorney if so desired, and I would suggest that we do that. Is there a motion to go into executive session? So moved, Richard Jones, second by?
Second.
Emily Hunt Daly, Ron Ortiz, excuse me, or Emily. As presented, is there a motion? That roll call. Going too
Emily
fast.
Hunt Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hayes,
Yes.
Richard Jones. Ron Ortiz,
Yes.
Dr. Guyer Shambo.
Yes. Motion carries. We are now going to go into executive session. Give us about 5 minutes.
We're staying, we're going.
We'll stay here.
Stay.
That's it.
So,
Johnson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Don't agree with it, with some clarity.
well, it just it creates another,
It bogs us down a little bit. But I'll definitely look into it.
Ready.
are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay,
Emmy's on, yeah.
reconvene the meeting. Need a motion to reconvene the regular session. So moved by Hayes, seconded by,
We need the motion to come out of executive session. Not,
To reconvene,
no, it says
to reconvene,
reconvene.
right?
I don't think so. But it's probably one way or the other, but it's generally you make a motion to go in executive session, then you make a motion to come out.
Can you make it and reconvene, just be?
And I probably haven't paid it that much attention in the last year or so.
We've been done.
Because when you make that motion, this is all we talked about in executive session.
Yes.
Have we been doing this one all this time? We've been doing this one all this time. To reconvene.
So we'll go back to the,
But
Well, no, let's,
you need to add the verbiage, what we spoke about in,
yeah, I'll do that.
yeah,
I'm
before
gonna-
the
I'm gonna-
motion.
She does mention.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that, and then we're gonna ask for a motion to reconvene.
There you go. Yeah, I think as long as you talk about what we did rather than just asking for the motion.
Okay.
Just done.
The board was in executive session and the discussion was limited to those personnel matters that we had entered into the executive session for the discussion of the evaluation of the superintendent, including receipt of presentation by superintendent on his evaluation pursuant to section 1015-187 of the Open Meetings Act. That is all that we talked about.
And I think any verbiage you use now is fine.
And we asked for a motion to reconvene regular session.
I make a motion, we reconvene.
Richard Jones made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Summa Ron Ortiz to reconvene regular session as presented. Roll call.
Emily Hunt Daly,
I'm sorry, yes?
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 Robert Hayes,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Aye.
Ron Ortiz,
Yes.
Dr. Guyer Shambo.
Yes. Motion carries to reconvene. See the announcements? Any other announcements?
I will be attending the National Superintendent's Conference next week in San Antonio, so I'll be out half a week next week.
Texas is now having winter, so good luck.
Yeah, San Antonio.
Are you down by the Riverwalk at all, or?
I've never been there, but I'm right by the river.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, go down there and eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you probably get to ice skate too.
You'll enjoy it.
And the, what's the meeting this week going on?
Which one?
I saw it someplace. Business, office. Whatever it is. Okay, future agenda items.
Mr. President.
Masco?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Three classes I was able to attend on Saturday. One was that I do have to run for reelection. And I thought I was just gonna. So,
When do you have the next election?
there's quite a few deadlines. Please, I want to run for office. So please let me know I'm not miss those deadlines.
Yeah, Bill,
I'm gonna be the only one. There's probably a few more on board as
Yeah.
well.
I think who's the one that,
Well,
There's
for the bond
several-
elections, we're doing those this November.
yeah,
And I
so
think
that
And
kind
then
of,
our election should be the same one as well.
No, you'll be there till the end of her term. Till the end of my guys.
So our term is up
This
we're up for
year.
reelection November
I thought it was next one.
No, it's the odd years this year.
this year. So all boards are gonna have elections.
Yes.
That's
so
what
I'll
we
be
heard.
on that election.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make sure.
So
Yeah,
we're-
there's only one day to clarify.
Exactly, that's what they're telling me, it's only one day. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
and you have to be there. You
Yeah.
can't just call in.
Can't just. be-
Yeah, you gotta go over there into the county office in August sometime.
Something like that, just one on the deadline.
Yeah, and they'll send that to me.
We three are the ones who are going to be up for, our positions are gonna be up for, election.
I think the sad thing is that in 2 years after run again, so you'll be back on the schedule of.
Yeah, the regular flow.
So many.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
These are 3 and 2.
there's a lot of grumbling over there when we heard that. Cause they're all trying to figure out, well, who's gonna do what?
Yeah.
And, it was complicated by that, but they did. So we three are the ones who are gonna be up for election, our position will be up for election.
Okay, next one on my list, we have 2 projects coming up, Mesa View and Blue Water. Adamant in the construction aspect of the legal parlance, that we need to have a QA/QC person on both sites, all during the construction process, and make sure that the state comes in for electrical and concrete and all of those pieces of the puzzle. Because they had a $40 million project that they were working on, ended up with $12 million worth of fixes. I
Okay.
thought that was outrageous.
So that's sort of like a heads up for maybe bring it up in the next board meeting
Perhaps if you'd like.
to,
And it needs to be not someone who's with the company that's building it, because we had a project here with Wilson and Company, and they had someone from Wilson and Company do the QA/QC. And I said, that's not what you wanted to do. We found that they broke a gas line. The sub broke the gas line during that project. So even their own QA/QC people did not see that.
so that would be, or one of the agenda items would be a notice about the elections for this coming year.
That comes
For
up,
3
yeah.
board, and then secondly
We have
is,
to develop what-
second one is this QA/QC issue. You
And this
guys
is-
can clear it up with him to how you wanna put it on the agenda.
It just needs to be, in the architect's specifications.
And then a third,
The third one was to Max, do we have a Title IX designate?
Yes, so that's,
'Cause I looked
we
on the
just had
website and there was no one listed.
recent discussion on that, so it should be finance. We clarified that it'll be the finance department, Mr. Maldonado. Jackie Jones is gonna help with it as far as providing the data for that.
Because that was
so that'd be
out
a
of all the
third,
classes I went to, that was the one that was the most packed, was Title IX.
Yeah,
yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So, but I looked online, there's no Title IX person designated for our.
I think Emily went to that one. Did you go to that one, to Title IX?
Yes, and we do have to have a designee to handle all the issues with Title IX. And there's some new language that came into Title IX.
Okay.
it's been an interesting one. So the last few years, as far as I can remember, we always got notified by the states that your Title IX report is due. This year, nothing, and all of a sudden, it's past the date.
Well, so I'd rather have something like that on file that we do know of, do produce, and if they want it, they'll have it, if they don't want it, it's on file somewhere.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it, Mr. President.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Jones, second.
Second.
By Robert Hayes. Seconded. Most roll call.
Hanahan Daly,
Yes,
Robert Hayes,
Yes.
Richard Jones, John Ortiz,
Oh, yes.
Dr. Guyer Shambo.
Yes. Meeting's adjourned at
9:06.
Right.
9:06.
No, whatever. Oh, we sign something?
Yeah, the minutes from last.
Okay.
Last time.